Hello everyone, welcome to UpDegree, and this is Sujay, your instructor for your OpenCV practical course. In this video, we will be starting off with our first OpenCV project, that is the motion detector application. So in this project, we will be building a motion detector application that basically detects any motion that occurs in our input video. So before we begin, we have already set up our environment. So let us go to our environment and see how we have set it up. So we will go to desktop and OpenCV projects. So here we have already created a virtual environment called OpenCV virtual environment. So let us activate that. So now with that we have activated our virtual environment, let us see what all applications or modules that are installed in this virtual application. So here we have installed NumPy, OpenCV, pip and setup tools. So there is another package that we will be installing, so called IMUtils. So we have installed IMUtils. Alright, so now let us open our favorite text editor. I have created a new file called as motiondetection.py, and then we will save this in the folder that we created. So here I have saved it as motion_detection.py, and let us save it. So let us start importing some of the modules that we will be requiring. So now that we have imported all the modules that we need, now let us construct an argument parser and pass the arguments. So now let us save this file. So here what we are doing is we have imported the necessary packages that we will be needing in this section of the code. In this section we are importing something called as a video stream. So video stream is a package of IMUtils video that helps us to start streaming from our webcam. We are importing the argparse module so that we can read the arguments given by the user from the argument line. And then we are also importing date time, because later we will be recording at what date the motion sensing algorithm was triggered. IMUtils is one of the helper modules that helps us read videos and images and work with them. Time and CV2 obviously is the OpenCV module that we will be importing to work with our application. So the first line, here we are initializing an argument parser that is going to parse the arguments given during runtime. So first we are going to add an argument called video. So if we give an argument called --video and path to the video file, we can read that video file. The second argument that we are sending is the min area. So min area size is the minimum area size that we will be looking into for the motion detection. So this will be of type int and it will be default of 500. So next we will find out the args, which parses the args using this argument parser. So here what we are doing is, if we do not send any video file as input, then we are going to start streaming from the webcam itself instead of reading from the video file. Else we will start reading from the video file that we have captured from the video, and we are also initializing the first frame. So this is the initial structure of our code which we are going to develop, And in the next video I will be talking about the basic theory behind how we are going to do object detection. What is the theory behind motion detection? So we are going to build this motion detection app using something called as background subtraction. So a little bit about background subtraction. Background subtraction is critical in many computer vision applications. We use it to count the number of cars passing through a toll booth. We use it to count the number of people walking in and out of a store. And we use it for motion detection. Before we get started coding in this post, let me say that there are many ways to perform motion detection, tracking and analysis in OpenCV. Some are very simple and others are very complicated. The two primary methods are forms of Gaussian mixture model based foreground and background segmentation. In newer versions of OpenCV, we have Bayesian probability based foreground and background segmentation. We can find this implementation in cv2.createBackgroundSubtractor.gmg function. All of these methods are concerned with segmenting the background from the foreground, and they even provide mechanisms for us to discern between actual motion and just shadowing and small lighting changes. So why is this so important, and why do we care about pixels belonging to the foreground and what pixels are part of the background? Well, in motion detection we tend to make the following assumption. The background of our video stream is largely static and unchanging over consecutive frames of a video. Therefore, if we can model the background, we monitor it for substantial changes. If there is a substantial change, we can detect it. This change normally corresponds to motion in our video. Now obviously in the real world this assumption can easily fail. Due to shadowing, reflections, lighting conditions and any other possible change in the environment, our background can look quite different in various frames of a video. And if the background appears to be different, it can throw our algorithms off. That's why the most successful background subtraction or foreground detection systems utilize fixed mounted cameras and in controlled lighting conditions. These methods, although they are very powerful, are also very computationally expensive. So it is best that we stick to simple approaches. In the rest of this video, we will be detailing the most basic motion detector and tracking system that we will be building. So in this code, we have seen that we have imported all the necessary packages. All of these should be pretty familiar, and we have already installed the IMUtils package. So next we have passed the command line arguments. We'll define two switches here. The first is the -- video, which is optional. It simply defines a path to the pre-recorded video file that we can detect motion in. If you do not supply a path to a video file, then OpenCV will utilize your webcam to detect motion. We'll also define -min-area, which is the minimum size in pixels for a region of an image to be considered actual motion. As we'll discuss later, we'll often find small regions of an image that have changed substantially, likely due to noise or changes in lighting conditions. In reality, these small regions are not actual motion at all. So we'll define a minimum size of a region to combat and filter out these false positives. In the case that a video file path is not supplied, we'll grab a reference to the webcam, or else we'll grab a reference to the video object. If a video file is supplied, then we'll create a pointer to it. Lastly, we'll end this code snippet by defining a variable called first frame. So first frame stores the first frame of the video file or the webcam stream. So here we are making a very important assumption. The assumption is that the first frame of our video file will contain no motion and just background. Therefore, we can model the background of our video stream using only the first frame of the video. Obviously, we are making a pretty big assumption here, but again, our goal is to run this system on a very simple algorithm so that we don't get too complicated. So in the next video, we will be starting with the next snippet of the code of the motion detection app. Hello everyone and welcome to UpDegree. This is Sujay, your instructor for the OpenCV practical course. So this is the third video in motion detection application, and in this video we'll be covering the next snippet of coding. So you can follow along as I start coding. So the call to vh.read returns a frame that we ensure we are grabbing properly. We'll also define a string named text and initialize it to indicate that the room we are monitoring is unoccupied. If there is indeed activity in the room, we can update this string. And in the case that a frame is not successfully read from the video file, we'll break from the loop. So in this case, we are reading the frames using vh.read, and we are assigning the frame depending on which source we are reading it from. If we are reading it from a video file, then we are assigning it as frame, or else we are assigning the first element of the frame array. And we are also initializing the text as to unoccupied. So if we are not able to read the file, then that means we have reached the end of the video and we are going to break from this while loop. Now we can start processing our frame and preparing it for motion analysis. First, we'll resize it down to have a width of 500 pixels. There is no need to process the large raw images straight from the video stream. So what we do here in the resize function is that we resize it to a width of 500. Usually our video files will have very large frame sizes and we don't have to pre-process all of them. And then we'll also convert the image to grayscale, since color has no bearing on our motion detection algorithm. Since our motion detection algorithm is based on background subtraction, we don't need a colored frame, we just need a black and white. Finally, we'll apply Gaussian blurring to smooth our images. So why are we doing this? So we do the Gaussian blur here in this line to apply a Gaussian blurring algorithm on our images. So why do we do this? It's important to understand that even consecutive frames of a video stream will not be identical. Due to tiny variations in the digital camera sensors, no two frames will be 100% the same even if there is no movement. Some pixels will most certainly have different intensity values. That said, we need to account for this and apply Gaussian smoothing to average pixel intensities across a 21x21 region. So here we are mentioning that we will be smoothing out the intensities across a square area of 21 pixels height and 21 pixels width. This helps smooth out high frequency noise that could throw our motion detection algorithm off. As I've already mentioned, we need to model the background of our image somehow. Again, we'll make the assumption that the first frame of the video stream contains no motion and is a good example of what our background looks like. If the first frame is not initialized, we'll store it for reference and continue on to processing the next frame of the video stream. The above frame satisfies the assumption that the first frame of the video is simply the static background. That means no motion is taking place. So up to here we have come to a point where we have the first frame which models our background and nobody is there in that video. And we have already pre-processed this frame and we know what a background looks like. So given this static background image, we are now ready to actually perform motion detection and tracking. So thank you for watching this video. This is the end of the third video, and in the next video we will actually start with the tracking algorithm that we discussed. Hello everyone, welcome to UpDegree. This is Sujay, your instructor for the OpenCV practical course. In this video, we'll be going over the next snippet in the OpenCV practical application that is dealing with the motion detection application. So I will be starting to code and I would suggest all of you to keep up with me. Alright, if you have already caught up till here, let us continue. Alright, let us save this file. Now that we have our background modeled via the first frame variable, we can utilize it to compute the difference between the initial frame and the subsequent new frames from the video stream. Computing the difference between two frames is a simple subtract where we take the absolute value of their corresponding pixel intensity differences. So here frame delta equal to background model minus current frame. So in this case we are computing the frame delta by computing an absolute difference between the first frame, which we have assumed to be the background, and the current frame, which is the gray. So the delta between these two frames is stored in frame delta. So the background of the image is clearly black, but regions that contain motion, such as region of movement, is much lighter. This implies that the larger frame delta indicate that the motion is taking place in the image. We will then threshold the frame delta to reveal regions of the image that only have significant changes in pixel intensity values. If delta is less than 25, we discard the pixel and set it to black. If the delta is greater than 25, we will set it to white. So in this case, we are thresholding on 25. So in this frame delta, if the intensity of the pixel is greater than 25, then we set it to 255, which is white. If it is less than 25, then we set it to 0. Given this thresholded image, it is simple to apply contour detection to find the outlines of these white regions. We will start looping over each of the contours, where we'll filter the small irrelevant contours. If the contour area is larger than our supplied min area, we'll draw the bounding box surrounding the foreground and motion region. We'll also update our text status string to indicate that the video has motion. So here we will find all the contours in this line, the contours of the image, of the black and white image on the threshold frame. So in this line we are going to grab all the contours using the IMUtils module, and we are going to store all the contours in this variable. Next, we will loop over all the contours, trying to find out what is the area of each contour. Now, if the area of each contour is less than the minimum area that has been supplied in the arguments, then we are going to ignore it. Otherwise, we are going to get the bounding rectangle against the contour, which includes the x coordinate, y coordinate, the width and height of the rectangle. Now once we have this rectangle, we will initialize a new rectangle object over the current frame, and we also change the text to occupied. Better yet, we will change the text to motion is detected, and we will change the text here to no motion. And let us save the file. So here what we are doing is we are doing the absolute difference on the current frame and the previous frame, and we are doing a threshold on it. Only if the threshold is greater than 25, it is going to be considered as actual motion, because we don't want our motion detector to give false positives. Now this threshold can be tuned according to how our motion detector works. If this threshold is too low, we will increase it, and if the threshold is high, we will decrease it. This we will get to know once we actually run the application and test it. So after this, we do a dilation on it, which is a pre-processing step, and then we find contours on this frame. And then we loop over each frame trying to find the area of the contour, and only if the area is greater than the min area, we store that rectangle. So thank you for watching this video, and in the next video we will look into the next snippet of code where we will actually draw this contour on the frame and then change the text on the frame to whether motion is detected or motion is not detected. Hello everyone, and welcome to UpDegree. This is Sujay, your instructor for the OpenCV practical course. In this video, we will start off with the next snippet of the motion detection app that we've been building. So in this video, we'll be going over how to actually put the text and the status on the frame itself. So as I code along, I would request you to start coding along with me and keep up with me. Alright, so let us save the file and continue on. Alright, let us save the file. So in this code snippet, we are just wrapping things up. We draw the status on the image in the top left corner, followed by a timestamp on the bottom left. So in these two parts, we are just displaying what is the status of the motion on the top left and the current date time of when the motion was detected on the bottom part. So here we are just specifying the font, the opacity, the color, and where we have to put it. And then we are just showing the results of our motion detection using these three functions called IMShow, where we are showing the frame, the threshold that was used, and the delta. So, and then we are recording the key that is being pressed, so that if the Q key is pressed, we are going to stop the application. And after this, we are just cleaning up the camera and releasing any of the resources that we might be using. And we are destroying all the windows created by OpenCV itself. So now that we have done everything, the second part displays the results of the work and allows us to visualize if any motion was detected in our video along with the frame delta and the thresholded image, so that we can debug our script. And in the final two lines, we are cleaning up and releasing the video stream pointer. So thank you for watching this video. And in the next video, we will give this code a try and see how well it works. Hello everyone and welcome to UpDegree. This is Sujay, your instructor for the OpenCV practical course. So till now we have coded our first motion detection application, and in this video we will be going through the demo and we will actually run it and see if actually our code is working. So for that, let us go to our terminal. So now let us type Python motion detection. So we will not be giving any arguments for the video file because we will be taking an input from the webcam. So here, as you can see, we have three windows. One is the frame delta, the threshold, and the frame. So here, as you can see, there is no motion right now, but if I introduce a motion, we can see that motion is detected. And you take out the motion and there is no motion. In threshold window, you can see that it is detecting the motion, that is the hand, which is different from the background. And in the frame delta, you can see the delta, that absolute difference that we have calculated. As you can see, the green line is the contour lines that are being drawn. So here, as you can see, the text is saying motion is detected, and you stop the motion and there is no motion, and you again introduce motion and it says motion is detected. So thank you for watching this video, and this will be the last video in the motion detection application, and see you in the next video where we will be building another application.